Don't take the bait of comparison. I find this so often that we continuously compare ourselves and set a standard that is way beyond anything that we should ever be. We have this mark that's so high, it's so unobtainable. And I will just encourage you that Christ is not comparing you to somebody else. You need to stop comparing yourself. As mothers, I feel like we do this so often. I remember whenever Brian and I got married and we had young kids, and I'm bringing them up, and his mom is like the perfect mom, like the perfect house. And I always say she's like Martha Stewart, but without prison. Just like without the prison part. But she was like the perfect mom. Like her yard always looked like the Garden of Eden. Her house was like pristine. There was never any dust. She made the perfect meals. She made perfect everything. And I always felt like if I'm going to be a good mom, I have to be it like her. And I remember one time she told me, she said, Crystal, I wish I would have chilled out more like you. Like, I wish I would have just let the house go a little bit more. I wish I would have just been okay with some things. And she's like, you're already a good mom. You don't have to be like me. And I just want to free some people up. Stop comparing yourself as a mom, as a wife, as a husband, as a father, as a human to anybody else. God made you uniquely. Because here's the thing, is that when God created Braley K. Sparks, he put everything on the inside of me to be her mom. And there are keys on the inside of me that only I have to unlock the God call and destiny on her life. She is graced to be my daughter. She is equipped to be my daughter. Your daughter wouldn't flourish in my house like my daughter can. Why? Because God made her for my house. And I just want to encourage every person in this place that you are anointed by God to raise those kids. And yes, it may be difficult. And yes, you're going to have some hard days. And yes, you're going to want to throw in the towel sometimes. But I just want to remind you that God has specially equipped you to be their mom. And it doesn't have to look like anybody else. You don't have to do it like me. You don't have to do it like Pastor Nancy. You don't have to do it like your mother-in-law. And you don't have to do it like your grandma. Just mom them the way that God called you to mom them, and watch and see those gifts and talents begin to come out of them from the inside out. I want to encourage you, stop comparing yourself. Let it go. Drop the comparison. I find this, that we watch other moms throw these amazing birthday parties, and you've got like, if the child's turning 1 and you're spending more money on it than their grad party. And that's great if you're that mom. If you're graced to be that mom. I'm not that mom. I'm the Chuck E. Cheese mom. I was the Chuck E. Cheese mom that didn't even stop by Five Below and buy balloons beforehand. Whatever Chucky brought, that's what they got. You got what Chucky brought. These are the plates. This is the cake. And here you go. Paid and done. I'm that kind of mom. But here's the thing is, if I try to mom like the other mom that's making all these handcrafted like of centerpieces and these backdrops and all this, I would hate my kids by the time the party started. When we went to Chucky, I loved them at the end of every party. And I say this to say that we are putting on things that God has never asked us to carry because we want to post something on Instagram and look flashy to everybody else. And I will just say that your kids want a happy mom more than a Pinterest mom. That's what they actually want. They want a mom that loves them. They want a mom that's present. And if it looks like crafting balloons and like making handmade t-shirts and doing all that stuff, good on you. But for the rest of us, I'm just going to order it on Etsy and call it a day. Amen? And I say that to say, stop comparing. Stop comparing. I see it with husband and wives. Wives will compare their husband to somebody else's husband. If he was your husband, you would hate him. Just like you hate the husband you have now. Love the man you're with. Like, just love that man and watch him become into the man that you've been believing God for. Stop comparing. We compare our houses. We compare our clothes. We compare our size. Make peace with your thighs. It's the only thighs you're ever going to have. Just love them. Your husband loves them. I'm just telling you, he loves your thighs. Start loving your thighs too. And I say this because I lived my entire life comparing to everyone. I remember when I started feeling a God call in my life, I felt like I couldn't do it because I couldn't do it like Sandy Sparks. But she was called by God in a different way than I'm called by God. I'm never going to play a piano or sing a special. It'll be terrible. I'm not that pastor's wife. If that's the pastor's wife you want, you need to go to another church. This ain't it. I'm your girl. This is how I roll. I'm kind of hood, kind of holy, kind of both, right? It's just where I'm at. But I say that to say we compare too much. Moms, let it go. Your kids love you, and your kids want you. Wives, your husband loves you. He's crazy about you. He doesn't want you to look like your best friend. He doesn't want you to look like the girl on Instagram. He chose you. Is this breaking through to anybody in the house?